Apostolic Game Designers.
Hey guys, welcome to another Apostolic Game Designers video tutorial. And in this video, we are going to be learning how to create a bowl of cereal inside of Blender. So we're going to be using version 2.79. Now obviously this should work with earlier or later versions since it's not like any special advanced functionality. But let's go ahead and dive into this. So here's one fact about this video too. I'm actually wearing this shirt backwards because there was a logo on the other side and I didn't want it in the video. So anyway, we're going to be using a very simple approach to this. We're going to start by modeling the bowl. We're going to add some milk to it. Then we're going to model a few different cornflakes. It's going to be cornflake cereal. Then we're going to be creating a particle system which will drop the cornflakes into the bowl for us very nicely. So let's go ahead and get into this. I might not do as much explaining in this video as I have with some of the videos in the past because there's a lot of material to cover. But the end result should look like this bowl right here. Nothing too advanced or too beautiful since obviously I don't really know what I'm doing. But boom. So let's go ahead and create a new project. And first things first, go ahead and hit X, delete the default cube, Shift A. We're going to add a circle. Let's cut this down to like 26 vertices. I don't think it really matters. We're not going for a low poly look with this, but I'm just going to put it down to 26, or let's go 22, because we'll be adding a subdivision surface to it. So let's hit number pad 5 to go to orthographic view, and number pad 1 for front view. Let's go ahead and hit tab. So let's go ahead and fill this. And then extrude this on the Z-axis up like this. So this is going to be for the bowl. Now what we want to do is, I'm losing my train of thought. I don't even know how to model a bowl. That is sad. So what I'm going to do, just hit S and just scale this up a little bit. Now move your cursor around these edges. Hit Control R and enter 3 on your keyboard. Just left click, then right click to cancel the transformation. Now what we're going to do is hold down your Alt key and right click like in between two of these vertices. It will select this whole ring right here. We're just going to give it more of a spherical shape. So to do that, hit O on your keyboard, go right down here to this round icon, click on that and hit Enable. This will enable proportional editing. So when I edit this, it will also edit the things around it. So we can change this to sphere. And this will give our bowl a more nice rounded shape to it. Now hit Control Tab, left click on face. We can right click on this top face and hit X, delete faces, because we obviously don't want the face to cover the top of it. Now obviously you could touch this up just a little bit more. I'm going to turn off proportional editing, you know, to go more for the look that you're going for. But obviously since there's a lot of material to cover and this isn't just on modeling the bowl, I think we'll just settle for this right here and just say that looks pretty good. So the next thing we want to do is go right here to, let's go ahead and click and drag this a little bit wider. Go to this wrench icon right here. Obviously it's way too thin, so we're going to add some thickness to it by going to Add Modifier, add a Solidify Modifier. We're going to make it just a little thicker, so go right here to thickness and hit the right arrow. We'll go for something like, let's go for 0.5. Is it 0.05? Yep, 0.05. Now we want to make it so it's not quite so blocky. We can smooth it. It still looks horrible though. So right here to modifier and simply add a subdivision surface modifier. We can give that a value of 2. And that's a pretty smooth looking bowl. Now if you look right down here, you see there's like some little crinkly lines right here. Easy way to fix that, hit Control Tab, go to face mode, select that face and hit I. This will do what's called inset it. And that should fix the problem for you. Usually there are a few crinkly lines left if you look really closely, so just hit tab and then inset it one more time, and usually it's all fixed by then. Okay, so that was really simple. That's all there is to creating the bowl itself. Super simple. Now we're just going to add some really quick milk. First of all though, let's go up here to this icon, hit Compositing. And I'm sorry if this is really fast paced. There's just so much material to cover. I'm trying to dive through this quickly. Plus I need to get ready for bed in a couple minutes too. Yeah, a late recording night. So anyway, go right here to this material icon. Make sure in the top in this icon right here, click that and select Cycles Render, which will look 3 times better. I used to hate cycles, now I love it. So hit this new material, we're just going to name it, bowl. We're going to name it bowl. So Shift A, add a shader. We're going to add a mix shader. We don't want it perfectly diffused. That will add like almost no reflection on it. So we want to Shift A, add a shader, a Glossy Shader. and just plug this little green slot up to this one right here. This will make it half glossy, like reflective, make it look all pretty, for more like a porcelain material, and then this will make it half diffuse. So to look what that looks like, down here in this little preview window, hit number pad 0 to leave camera view. We're just going to hit Shift A, add a mesh, a plane, hit number pad 1, number pad 5, and just grab this like right below the bowl, and just scale it up for like a surface right underneath it. Now if we go to camera view and hit Shift Z, it's kind of hard to see what it looks like. So right click on this lamp, hit use nodes. Let's just give it a value of like 1,250. So you can kind of see the material it has for it now, even though we still need to, later on in the video, we'll probably update the lighting a little bit more to make it look nicer. So anyway, it looks kind of like that. You can see it's kind of shiny. So if you want to, you can change the value to make it a little more diffuse, like that. I'll go for maybe a value of like 0.4, or let's go 0.35. So now let's go back to default. Let's add the milk that's inside of the bowl. That's super simple. So let's go to tab. And all I want to do is simply just select. I'm trying to remember what I did last time. Hit Z to go to wireframe view. Just select. Oh, I could just hit A to select everything. What do I want to do? I'm going to Shift D, duplicate that, hit P, click selection. And what that did is it gave us a separate bowl that looks exactly the same. But we don't want just a bowl. I just duplicated that to give us the shape of the bowl for the milk. So what I want to do is get rid of the subdivision of the Solidify modifier. And simply hit tab, select everything, and just scale it down so that it's completely inside. Completely inside of this bowl. Hit edge select, and I'll select this top row right here and just fill that. And inset it ever so slightly. Inset it again. And what I want to do is select this outer ring. You see it's kind of got like a gap between it. If milk did that in a bowl, I would be scared. I'd be like, what in the world is wrong with this milk? So hit tab, hit O for proportional editing, and just scale. You can use the scroll wheel and move it down so it doesn't affect as much of it. And just scale it up so that the milk fits nicely inside of the bowl. Now obviously the milk's about to overflow, so we don't want it to look like that. So what we're going to do is just take that and hit number pad 1. Well, let's go to wireframe view, hit B to box select, select this top ring, and let's see, just grab it on the Z axis. We could turn off proportional editing by hitting O. Just grab it, hit G and then Z, just move it to something like that, and then just scale it down. That should do the job like that. So if we render it, see we got a nice little bowl with this fluid inside of it. Now obviously we can give this a material real quick. It looks nothing like milk when you pull it out, but from the top it looks okay. So we can go to compositing. I want to give this a different material. I'm going to name it milk. And mostly, to be honest, I just want to make this a solid white material. I can add Shift A, shader. We can add a mix shader. We can add a glossy shader. Plug that in right here. I want it to be mostly diffused though, because if it's glossy, it just doesn't look as white. So obviously this is really bad setup for the material. We can edit a little bit more. It's not going to look right in the lighting, but we can also go Shift A, add another mix shader, and mix this with a little bit of a glass shader. This will give the milk some transparency, since milk is transparent. But then again, I don't really want it to be too much like that. So mostly we'll just go with something like that. So that ought to do the job right there. 10 minutes just to create a bowl of milk. It's already been 10 minutes. My goodness. So we're going to go ahead and get through the rest of this really quickly. So now the fun part is creating the cornflakes. So I'm going to show you a horrible way to create the cornflakes and to drop them into the bowl. So what I'm going to do is hit Shift A. I'm going to add a cube. A cube is nothing like a cornflake, but bear with me for a couple seconds. We're going to grab it on the Y-axis. Let's just grab it up. And then scale it on the Z-axis till it's really flat. Let's just make it scale at Y-axis so it's kind of rectangular shaped. And so what I want to do is select everything. First of all, let me go ahead and go to object mode, hit object mode, not object mode, and hit Control A, apply the scale. Go back to edit mode. I don't think that usually does anything with subdividing it, but I like to do it anyway. So now if we hit W and I hit subdivide, I'm going to create the increase the subdivision count to about, give it, on this left side right here, go ahead and do it to about 5 times. And then right here in the middle, we don't need all these subdivisions on the edge right here, so just right click on that, hit X, dissolve edges. That one too, dissolve edges. And then we're going to leave like one right in the middle here. We can actually just scale it up a little bit. So it looks absolutely nothing like a cornflake. So we're going to fix it up just a little bit. So let's go back to edit mode, hit Control Tab, go to vertex mode, and we're going to hit O to turn on proportional editing. And this is where the magic begins. So what we're going to do is grab it. I'm going to change this to smooth maybe. And so what we're going to do is just start grabbing some different points of it. And we're just going to grab some different points and give it kind of a, you know, an abnormal shape to it. So obviously, it doesn't look too good. We just need to round off some of these sharp edges. And you see it's already starting to look a little bit better like that with rounded edges. At first I was like, am I doing something wrong? This looks horrible. It's going to look horrible the first few seconds. So just bear with it a little bit. And, you know, we're just going to give it just some cornflake shape, you know? And let's see. A moment of silence. You know what? Obviously, I don't want to go too advanced with this, so this will do the job right here. So now the next step is we're going to go ahead and unwrap this. We're just going to go super quick with this tutorial. You can mess with it a lot more, make it look a lot more detailed. One thing I do want to do is select like some of these top faces. Go right here to proportional editing, add random as the proportional fall off. Yep, that's actually that is what it's called, proportional editing fall off. I feel so smart. So we're just going to grab it, and you see it gives that bumpy look to it. When you do this type of fall off, it's all random. It's all the different points are going to move up along with the point that you're grabbing at a random rate. So we're just going to do this to make it look kind of bumpy. And be very careful not to let, like, you see right over here how points are coming through. We don't want that to happen. So we can go ahead and smooth this if we want to. We could go more high resolution with this, but when you're having like hundreds of cornflakes, that's going to blow your try count up or your vertice count. So this will do the job. So we're going to go right here to compositing. We're going to add a very simple material to it. We're going to go cornflake. So what I want to do is leave it like this probably. Shift A, we're going to add a texture, an image texture, plug that in. Now I created my own texture, not the best in the world, but I created my own texture of some cornflakes. So I'm going to hit open. And it should be right here. So it's this image right here. I'll post this in the video description so you can download this for yourself to work with. I just took a picture of some cornflakes and just removed the background. So if you want to, you can do a mixed shader, plug in a little bit of glossy just to add a little bit of reflectivity. And you can plug in a normal map to add some bump to it. I'm not really going to get into that with this video tutorial though, because I found really it looks pretty good just the diffuse. So what we're going to do is, let's go back to the default view. This is not the best way of doing it, but I'm going to go to Edge Select. To unwrap it, just hit Alt, select this middle edge right here, hit Control E, mark seam. Now up here you see these little 3 lines, click and drag that to the left to create another window. And down here, select UV Image Editor. We're going to select everything and hit U, unwrap. So this is going to give us 2 beautiful, oh, look at that. I have to turn off proportional editing. There we go. This is going to give us 2 beautiful cornflake halves. So under material, yep, go ahead and select the cornflake image. You can turn on texture view if you want to. So I'm going to take this one, rotate a little bit, scale it down until it nicely fits inside of this cornflake. And for this other one, this is not a good way of unwrapping it, but I just, for the original cereal that I created, I just simply did that right here. Okay, so here's a later note I actually recorded on another day after this main video. So, just a really quick thing that you can do here. So actually, if you place these two on the exact same area, you see they don't perfectly match up actually.
So this will be one thing that will actually lead to the seams right around here that you see. How you see some of the textures don't match up. So you can fix that by simply taking this, go to UVs, mirror, and then choose Y-axis. I need to scale it up to change it a little bit too. But you see more or less that the different points are just about at the exact same areas. And so when this point and this point are like the exact same area, as you can see around here, you see there's going to be less of a seam if you take that approach right here. So that's something you can do also, so there's less of a seam on your cornflakes.
So what I want to do is Shift-D, duplicate this on the X-axis. We're going to select this one. We're just going to simply create a different looking cornflake. Hit O, select smooth. I'm just going to create one that looks a little bit different. So let's see, let's go for look like. You know what, that'll do the job right there. And then I'm just going to grab both of these, rotate them, and put them on the other one for a different look. I'm just going to create one more cornflake and move it like right here. We're going to edit it a little bit. And then let's just go for like a look like, kind of like just an oval, like little blobby look right there. And then for this one, we can just hit A once or twice to select everything and just rotate it 180 degrees. So that's just a really skimpy, horrible way of doing it. But we have 3 different cornflakes. I would recommend, feel free to create more cornflake textures for more variety among the cornflakes. And then you can create different variations, but this will do the job right here. So the next thing I want to do, we're going to make it start raining cornflakes. This is like the funnest part of the whole video. But before we do that, make sure right click on this, shift select the other one, so shift right click on them and hit Control G. This will group them so that we can rain them as a group. So when we assign the group to what it rains, it's going to rain all 3 different shapes of the cornflakes. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to take this bottom plane, Shift D, hit Z, that duplicates it, and I'm going to go to top view and just scale this down. And we're just going to pull it down. We're going to make this drop cornflakes. So what we're going to do, we can go ahead and close this window right here. So down here, over here on the right, you see this little sparkly icon. That's for a particle system. So hit new to create a new one. Now I used about 1,000 cornflakes in mine. So if you watch this, see what happens? It starts dropping all these sparkles. You see a few problems. First of all, they're not cornflakes. And second of all, they're falling straight through here. So first of all, let's make them cornflakes, and then we'll make sure they're not falling straight through the bowl. So to do that, it's really simple. We're going to go right here down to Render, hit Group. That's why we group them. And then select that and hit Group. And so now if you go to the beginning and you watch it, you see it's dropping cornflakes. And if we pause it and hit Shift Z, you see we have a zillion cornflakes falling. That is just so cool. So anyway, of course, we need to change a few settings here. So I don't want them to fall quite as fast. What is wrong with me? Filled weights. We're going to go right here to filled weights. Decrease the gravity to something like 0.2. And you notice they actually bounce up first. But you see they're not falling as far. Now you see they're fading away too quickly though. So we're going to scroll up here. I don't want these cornflakes to fade away at all. Because cornflakes don't fall from the sky and then just disappear. So we're going to give it a lifetime. That'll fix that. We're going to give it a lifetime of 1,000. Go back to the beginning and play it. I mean, they jump up a little bit, but that should do the job. Now, the next thing is they're too small. So we're going to go right here to, that's under here, under size. We're going to do 0.1. We could do like 0.12, you know, something like that. You know, whatever does the job. Under here, we're going to add a random size and just pull it up a little bit. That's going to make them so that they're all not the same size. It's going to scale them, you know, change it up a little bit to make it a little bit different. So now we want to make it so they're not falling straight through the bowl. So to do that, we want them to fall and land right below the milk level and pile up there. So it's not falling through the bowl. What we're going to do is I'm going to take this bottom plane, Shift D, hit Z, and we're going to duplicate it again. And we're going to grab it right below the milk level, somewhere like here. And so that it's not hiding the view and everything, we can first of all scale it down to something like this. Go right here to this cube icon and just go down to maximum draw type and hit wire. So it's going to make it so we can't really see it anymore except for the wireframe around it. And then what we're going to do is go right here to this bouncing ball icon, add collision. And now when we go back to the beginning and play it, the animation, watch what happens. You see that they are bouncing off of it. Now, look at this. Look at this mess. So obviously, we don't want we don't want them to bounce off of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this thing called particle damping. Hit play. What I might need to do is actually grab this a little bit higher, like here, and then try it again, because they're obviously not showing above the milk level. So let's try this again. And I'm going to adjust a little bit more. We just need to adjust this until the cornflakes are visible inside of the milk. So I'm going to have to literally put it right there or something. I just want to position it so that the cornflakes are showing in the milk like this. And then if all else fails, you can just select the milk and just hit tab and just select it and just grab it down until it's like until it's at the right place. And this just make sure it's not poking through the bowl. So if we go ahead and hit Shift Z to view this as rendered, you see we kind of got something going right here. Now, anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. So what we're going to do is, I think I do want to take the particle system and go right here to under the physics and increase the size just ever so slightly. So we need to change this. We do need to edit this a little bit, but let's see what we've got going. So first things first, I'm going to go to this wrench icon. And at this point, you can save it if you want to, because we're getting ready to turn this into a mesh, and you won't be able to undo that. However, like when you go down through your workflow and do more stuff, you won't be able to turn back what you've done here. So if you want to save it, this would be a good point too. So otherwise, just go ahead and hit convert, and it is going to convert each of these cornflakes into a separate mesh. So we could take this, delete it. We could take these and delete it. Hit number pad 1. Go to wireframe view and just box select all of these that are flying in the air. Oh my goodness. I should have saved. I just legit thought I was going to crash and ruin my whole video. So we're just going to select all these above the bowl. Hit X, delete it. And then let's see. So the fun part is selecting all these around the edges here. And I'm just doing a pretty rough selection here. We don't need these. And then I'm just going to go right around here and just hit the middle mouse button to unselect the ones that are inside of the bowl. And just delete all of those. Now obviously there are a few that are still sticking through. And we're going to go ahead and cut those out. But I don't want to make you sit here and watch me cut out every single one of these. So obviously you can play around with these a little bit more. Cut out all the ones that are poking through. I'm just in a big rush. I should have recorded on a day when I had more time. I got my driver's test tomorrow, so I got to go to bed early enough tonight to wake up early and do some practice and stuff. We got the cornflakes right here. There are still some floating in the air. We're gonna cut those out too, cause unless you're going for like some image of cornflakes falling into the bowl, it doesn't look totally realistic. So we got our cornflakes going right here. What I want to do is, if you look at a picture of a bowl of cereal, almost never are all the cereal pieces just going to be laying perfectly flat in the milk like some utopian cereal scene. Instead, they're just going to be pointing out of the cereal every direction. So what we're going to do is I am going to take this bowl right here, hide it, hide the milk, hide this. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this right here. Just hide everything until just the cereal is showing. That's so when I select one and hit O for proportional editing. And I'm going to select individual origins. So when I rotate it, that looks so cool. Oh my goodness. Bro, look at that. So anyway, when I rotate it, it's not going to be rotating the things around it. So I want to, instead of smooth, we're going to go random. So they're all rotated a little bit differently. So rotate Y, rotate Z, you know, rotate Z, rotate Y, you know, just a little bit more. And it's going to give us kind of that scrambled look. Feel free to play around with it a little bit more. You can hit Alt H to unhide it. And did I delete? I accidentally deleted the light. So anyway, that's what the cereal is going to look like. So what I'm going to do at this point, we've already created the basic bowl of cereal. I feel like I did a horrible job teaching how to do it. You are very welcome. But anyway, let's go ahead and get a little bit of a lighting set up, and then we should be able to conclude this video. So anyway, what we're going to do, I just want to select the camera, Shift S, snap cursor to selected. I want to add a plane. I'm going to go to top view, or let me just rotate it X, turn off proportional editing, rotate it X, rotate it Z, and I'm just going to grab it like over here, just scale it up. What I want to do is go here to the material, hit new. We're just going to give this a emission material, give it a value of like 2 or something maybe. Or no, let's amp that up to like 10 or something. And we can hit number pad 0, except for this is kind of in the camera view. So let's try that again. So I want to hit N, go down to view and select lock camera to view. This will allow you to navigate in the camera view. And we still got cereal pieces poking through the bowl. That's totally realistic. That happens all the time when I have cornflakes in real life, which is never. Okay, so real quick, I was just checking the setup I had in the last document to make the milk look more white. I really wasn't really much anything different than this. I think one of the reasons was I had ambient inclusion on, which made the scene look a lot more bright. So we could do like a value of 0.5 or something. And that should do the job pretty well like that. So, obviously, you could go a lot more in detail. I was just trying to really rush this tutorial because I knew it was a lot of material to cover. You see, we do have some bare spots. So if you really wanted to, you could up the particle count and drop more cornflakes in there. Or you could just duplicate some of them and move them manually. But you might also have some issues with some cornflakes intersecting through others. That's something you could play around with a little bit if you wanted to. Unfortunately, I did a little bit of Googling. I don't know if there's really a way to make the particles collide with each other as they fall. So it might just take some manual manipulation. But I don't know. It's not too noticeable. So anyway, you can play around with it all you want to. That's my rushed version of how to create a bowl of cereal inside of Blender. It looks horrible. But, I mean, you know what? I would actually eat that. I would actually eat that. I really would. That's probably the first thing I've ever made inside a computer that looks good enough that I would actually eat. And it doesn't really look that good. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching this awesome, horrible video. Be sure to comment below. Maybe you're going to make something different, like some Raisin Bran or some Chex cereal or some Cheerios. Cheerios will probably be a lot of fun to do. But anyway, let me know if you had fun watching this video. Be sure to hit that like button, all that other good stuff. But anyway, you guys have a great day.
Apostolic Game Designers.